I don't even remember singing in rhythm. Quasi-san looks pale.
その人ってさ、アロエの手帳に写真載ってた人だよ。
I take Aroi's notebook and flip through it. Near the end of it is a photo of a man who's in front of me. The name, Fukasawa-san, is written below the photo. Kuragata-san speaks as he stares at the corpse's chest. His license showing his identity is placed there. He stops. Kuragata-san has a grave expression. Tanamura-san comes back with that. He looks at his hand. He tilts his head in wonder. Oh yeah, they've gone and made themselves depressed. Quasi-san makes fun of him. Tanamura-san sticks his chest out with pride at Quasi-san's size. It seems the hospital is going to do something about them. They say that they're about to bury the corpses. You do want to go to the shelter quickly, but due to the circumstances, we decide to help out. It's getting pretty dark. Oh, yeah. That one sentence can be taken a lot of ways, too. It's getting pretty dark. Nudge, nudge. Nudge, nudge. Oh, but it's only going to get darker. Trust me. Tanamura-san stops working, looks up, and breathes out. Man, who agreed to this shit? Yeah, you're having too much sympathy for the dead, man. Come on. Everyone else is digging slower too, and fatigue is becoming apparent. We'll only get more inefficient if we keep working. But Kuragata-san shakes his head. Tanamura-san smiles bitterly. He and Kuragata-san have snow piled up on their heads and shoulders. I'm sure I look the same. Sasaki-san and the other women headed to the shelter before us. A nearby middle school is the shelter, and I hear that people have gathered and are living together there. Kawase-san went to help bury them as well, but after Tanamura-san persuaded her and Sasaki-san chided her, she reluctantly went to the shelter. I didn't want to leave Arway here, and I thought it was a good idea for them to go ahead and talk to the people there about us. We stayed behind and buried the corpses. I don't know how many hours it's been. We've buried many different kinds of corpses. There are a wide variety of corpses. There are small kids, old people, men, women. There are serene-looking corpses, which leave me wondering why they died. There are brutal-looking corpses, which made it obvious how they died. Everyone has gotten used to seeing corpses, so nobody is surprised at their gruesomeness. But looking at corpses all the time is depressing. Well, try to talk to the people in Fallout. Yeah, they see that shit on a daily basis. Like, damn. To the point where you just ignore it completely. Because, yeah, they're kind of just, like I said before, debris pieces. They're just decoration for the scenery. The work continues in silence. Kawagata-san looks like he's heartbroken, but he's vigorous about the work. Self-satisfaction, you say. Kawagata-san says this, but we started working before noon and the sun is setting now. We haven't rested at all. Yeah, like I said, this is going to be a lot of fucking work. So yeah, I kind of opted out of doing this because I'm a selfish bastard in the apocalypse. Like, and I can afford to be because, yeah, it's like I have the most sense. It's like, yeah, save your energy because you never know when you might need it. It's like I said before, it's like just burn the bodies. It's like it's easier. Toromura-san looks like Korogata-san's knees, which are trembling from fatigue. It seems he's more worried about Korogata-san than himself. But in Korogata-san's defense, it's not that he's weak. The trembling in his knees show how hard he's been working. If one wants to talk about being useless, I was the most useless one of us all, since my right hand doesn't have enough grip strength. I can't dig the frozen ground. Nor support a stretcher. Oh, yeah. Well, your grip strength? Really? Really now? I mean, come on. A few scenes ago, when you were with Sasaki-san in the, in that building, yeah, you weren't even worrying about your hand at that point in time. You were too busy making moves on her. Yeah. I think you're bullshitting, Amako. You're a bullshitter. Yeah, you're worried about your head now, but yeah, back then you were like, oh, yeah, like you were touching, like, Sasaki, and you were telling her to touch you and to grip stronger, like, grip you stronger, you were, like, all up in that. Oh, man, I'm calling you on your bullshit, man. I realized I couldn't help at all, so I told them about my right hand's disability. It was the first time I had told them about it, but it seems they were vaguely aware of it. Tanomura-san told me not to push myself, even though he's pushing himself by working with his wounded arm. Yeah, he's doing more than you. But he's sucking it up. His arm had a chunk of flesh about the size of my pinky blown off. He had it sterilized and wrapped in bandages. Oh, that would have been an interesting scene to read through. But it should still be painful. However, he's keeping cool face and he's even caring for Korogata-san's fatigue. Yeah. I wonder, well, we all know how he cauterized the wound. He got a piece of metal. He put it in the fire. He let the metal get red hot. And then, in order to cauterize the wound, he actually put the metal, or he had someone else put the metal in the wound, and then around the wound to cauterize it. He screamed a lot. There was a lot of screaming, and in order to see what that actually looks like, just look at my playthrough of Heavy Rain, in which Ethan cuts off his, well, he didn't actually cut it off, he sawed it off. Well, he sawed off his one of his fingers, and he had to cauterize the wound with something. Yeah, very, very painful. I think I read something else that had like a cauterizing thing in it too. I can't remember what it was. Okay. He had it sterilized and wrapped in bandages, but it should still be painful. However, he's keep. Okay, yeah. Alright. Alright to that. The hospital staff are at their limits as well. It's pretty much been decided that they're going home now, but Korogata-san is not finished. He keeps insisting that we should keep working. Dude, it's like working yourself to death. Doing this is not worth your time. Tanomura-san persuaded Korogata-san with a smile. Korogata-san knows the danger of carrying a heavy stretcher through a barren land in the dark, so he nods reluctantly. We then cover the corpses with dirt and place a piece of concrete there as a gravestone. We've been writing the names of the dead people in the concrete. Damn! Got even more work! You people, man. You people at the beginning of the apocalypse is like, I commend you. Because, yeah, I wouldn't do that, man. For real. Just being honest. It's like, I see a pile of dead bodies, and instead of burying them, it's like, you know, just fucking burn them. Burn them. It's like, don't bother writing their names because it's like, I mean, it's. It don't matter to like the people that knew them, but if you're in an area filled with strangers and they only vaguely know of your existence, it's like it's not really worth time just writing your name down. It's like, yeah, here's like the fallen or something. Now, if we're in a situation where it's like it's the apocalypse, but we have a slight chance of bringing society back to a state of normality, then yeah, then writing the names down may make sense. But then you have to think like that far ahead, where it's like, how long will this situation be in which we can return to our state of normalness? And you can't think that far ahead because it could be like centuries or like millennia down the road where it's like, okay, yeah, we're back to normal. So let's remember all the people that died during the apocalypse, before and during the apocalypse. Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense and it doesn't make sense. But there are many fewer names than the actual number of the corpses buried. Yeah. It's because we didn't know. Oh, that's what I just got. That's what I just said. Yeah. So he's reaffirming it. Confirming it. If we bury the nameless corpses here, nobody will probably ever figure out that they're buried here. We finished burying them, so we stick an incense stick in the ground and light it. Everyone gives a silent prayer. And when we get up, Korigata-san staggers and falls. His tension must have disappeared, leaving the full force of his fatigue. And we gotta carry his ass back to the school. It's dark by the time we return to the hospital. The nurses are cooking, and they give us our share of vegetable soup. Everyone who was doing burial work gathers in the corner and starts eating. Everyone had been quiet until now, but conversation starts here. We talk about our circumstances. They're not people who work at the hospital, but rather students and ordinary company employees. In short, they're victims just like us. They tell us that they've lost their houses and families, and they're living here while helping out with the hospital.
5体満足で生き残ったのも何かの運なんでしょうから。何もしないでいるとどうしても嫌なことばかり考えてしまうので、僕が手伝うことで
They tell us why they work here. We didn't talk about when the earthquake hit. They listen curiously when we talk about how we lived at the church like we were on a remote island. After we finished, they talk about how the town was. The people in town were in a panic right after the earthquake. Fires eventually started burning and killing the survivors. There were many cases where people were trapped in collapsed buildings, and they could do nothing but wait until their screams ceased. The town was overrun by fear and despair. When the night finally ended, the town was flooded. There were many corpses of people who died from the cold lying around the water. They were covered in water and ran out of strength before they found any source of warmth.
Toにかく最初の頃は死体ばっかりたくさん見ましたよ。今は雪が積もってしまっているけれど、きっと掘り返せばいくらでも見つかるんじゃないかな。投資したやつは綺麗だからありがたかったですよ。焼死とか足の痛いは本当にひどかった。
You know, reading through that is kind of if you want to be a bit devious in the situation, you can kind of say he has a fetish for corpses. Like the way he's like describing it, it's like a beautiful corpse versus a grotesque corpse. So he has a preference for corpses. So yeah, it's like, hey, you ever get it on with a corpse? Like, I know, really, really dark stuff I'm getting into. So if you have a preference for a corpse, I mean, you wouldn't mind getting down with a corpse, would you? I mean, if no one's around and you gotta, work out some tension and stress, and you just see a corpse of a pretty little thing in the snow, and you kind of pull her by the fire, warm her up a bit. in the places that matter. And, okay, I'm starting to gross myself out here. Alright, moving on. The man who introduced himself as a college student smiles wryly. Oh shit, it's been like, wow, over an hour. Oh, I'm sorry, did I interrupt you? My bad, I'm just watching the clock here. The man who introduced himself as a salesman sighs. We didn't hear about other things. They tell us about life after disaster and what public organizations have been doing, but they provide no information that brings any hope. There are no organized countermeasures being taken. Radios and phones aren't working. There's no method to figure out the scope of the damage, nor is there any information coming from outside of the disaster areas. The people here can only manage to survive day by day. Unless it's in the case of 28 days later, in which the guy's like running through like a forest or something, and he trips and falls, and then when he falls, he lands like on his back, and he's staring up at the sky, and in the sky, he sees a plane flying, and it's like, what? Or like in The Walking Dead, where it's like you see helicopters and stuff flying around and shit. It's kind of crazy. It's crazy. The people are isolated in this town, as if we've been completely forgotten by the outside world. Only a small number of people have survived. Most of the people in this town have died. A decent number of people should still be alive considering the size of this town. But nobody really knows how many people are alive. They say that gathering these survivors is a future task. We tell them about how we were attacked by police officers yesterday. They were a bit surprised, but they say that it's nothing unexpected. Yeah. They say that everyone was in a panic right after the disaster, and there were lots of disputes and fights. Most of the fights started out over how goods were distributed, but many other trivial matters became causes of trouble. They say it's only been a few days since a definite leader was decided on. The crew started functioning as an organization, and the shelter began to settle down.
Everyoneで協力すれば、まあ生活するだけなら難しくはなかったんですよ。それは今になったからこそ思うわけですが、最初の頃はとにかくみんな必要以上に怯えていましたからね。そのおまわりさんの話は知りませんけれど、あのまま落ち着くことができなかったらと想像すると、もしかしたらそうなってしまうのかもしれません。
やっぱり他にもそういうおっかない人はいそうなんですかね。
いるとは言いたくないですけれど、否定はできませんよね。何もかもめちゃくちゃですから、何一つ確信を持って言えることはないですよ。
He answers disinterestedly. We finish eating and start getting ready to head to the shelter when it's like encounter. I hear a scream behind us. I turn around and see a young man standing next to a bed, embracing the girl lying on it. A nurse is standing in front of them with a troubled look. The nurse tries to persuade him.
あんまりわがままを言わないでください。
わがままなんてひどい。もうあなたの言葉なんか聞きたくありませんよ。見捨てるって言うんですか？誰か他の人お願いします。
You know, if this was The Walking Dead, Akawa would like just come up there out of nowhere, take out a gun, just shoot her in the head, just to be merciful. Yeah, nah, we're not in that type of environment. Not yet, anyway. The man is in a panic and continues to scream. The girl has her eyes closed and is breathing painfully. Sees the nurse can't do anything since the man is threatening her. She just stands there with a troubled look. Whoa, check out this guy.
どうしました?
A tall man wearing a white robe appears. So I'm guessing he's the leader. So, you're the commanding officer. Oh god, man, oh damn.
この人がひどいんです。
Oh god, his name. That's gonna be hard to say. The man interrupts the nurse who tries to object.
それは
僕の愛がこんなに苦しんでいるのに出す薬はないって。
And you see, this is why I avoid large groups.
ひどい
There's
じゃないです
one
か。
reason. Well, namely other reasons too, but you know, this is one of them. The man called Kakizaki holds his long, unshaven chin, unshaven chin, and stares at the girl through his glasses. Remember, in anime, a guy with glasses always has two sides. Because you can never trust him, man. You can never trust a man in glasses. When the nurse starts talking.
彼女に鎮痛剤を与えてあげなさい。彼にも落ち着く薬をあげた方がいい。みんなびっくりしているじゃないか。
The doctor says this, and the man bows many times in appreciation. Say, when are you gonna do some really twisted shit?
まあ気にしない
You
で。
know, I'm just saying. Kakizaki waves it off and leaves. The nurse follows after Kakizaki. The nurse is whispering so only the doctor can hear it, but I can hear her, seeing that everyone around them doesn't seem to notice. I'm the only one who's hearing them. The doctor keeps walking, answers in a small voice.
分かってる。生理食塩水でも打っておけ。
でもそれは
薬が足りないんだろ。それでいいじゃない。
What? Oh, that is this Sasaki. Like, what the fuck? Okay, Sakurai.
もう二度とこんなことで騒ぎを起こさせるな。やりようはいくらでもあるだろう。
Doctor spits this out
頭
and
は何
leaves.
のためについているんだ。
大丈夫だよ。も
Oh,
う
something I cut him off.
よかったね。ほん
It seems my right hand is growing impatient. And it's like, it's time to end this. The man keeps whispering to the girl who's on the bed. Alright, I think that's a good place to wrap it up for this session. It's been 90 minutes, so I could probably pump out 3 parts if I keep it at 30 minutes apiece, but there we go. Oh, wow, okay. Okay, next time we start this up, we're going to be in the middle school. Oh yeah, at post-coitus with Sasaki-san, so things between me and her should be different, to say the least. Oh man, so okay, gotta get to work on that that little scene to see if I can actually work around it. But I think I can, because it doesn't get too graphic, so I think I can. All right, so but until then, gonna say peace out, rock on, and just keep doing what you guys do, because I appreciate everything you do. Every contribution, big or small, is always a good thing, because if the channel grows, we grow, or something like that. I don't know. Alright, so I'm getting too sentimental. I don't like getting sentimental here, so I'm just gonna roll out, because is that still going? Yeah, that's still going. Alright. Till then.